Hi, Mosaic Souls. Indigo Ray here, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor, aka spiritual teacher with flair. Love and light and welcome. Today I wanted to talk about how to reclaim your self-worth. So this topic is really, I'm going to be sharing some personal things in this video because I really wanted to emphasize how you can do this and personally how this is arising for me. And so personally, I got out of a beautiful relationship actually, and am now healing and on my journey of self-discovery, rediscovering myself in different ways. I think that journey just never ends. Personally, when you're on the spiritual path, you're always discovering more of yourself because God is infinite and we are a part of that intelligence that we call God. So reclaiming your self-worth, basically I wanted to touch on this topic in general, and how this came about for me was that I went through a spiritual awakening. I've been through many spiritual awakenings, but I went through a spiritual awakening, and I went through this process of karmically shedding a lot of things in my life, a lot of belief systems, a lot of old ways of thinking, just a lot of things. And this actually happened in the cocoon of a relationship too. So it was beautiful. And now that that is over, what I found within that is that in that time, I really didn't have much space to do anything else in my life. Like every day was a literally shedding emotionally. It was just very spiritually intense. Every day I was shedding, like, not every day I was crying, but I would have these moments where I would just have these massive revelations and I would need to cry. And I was walking in nature, and I would be crying and shedding because I understood so much about my life and so much about what life is about. And it was just this period of time of just shedding and expanding and growing spiritually. And I love that part of my life. But what I noticed that had took a back seat is taking care of my body and some of the habits of being a human and actually living your day-to-day life. So even though we're on the spiritual path, you still have to get up and brush your teeth and bathe. And not that I didn't give that gave those things up. I still did that. But as far as like letting go a lot of my passions, I didn't have room to do anything creative in that period of time because I couldn't really, because it just wasn't, there was no room for it. So what I'm coming back to see is that, and some of the limiting beliefs that I'm shedding now is about self-worth. And one of the things that I'm shedding now on self-worth is the idea that I am not I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough if I don't have a certain amount of money in the bank, or if I don't have these number of friends, or if I don't have all this other stuff that we calculate or that we call to ourselves in our minds of who we are and what our self-worth is and how important we are. And I'm starting to shed that. And I noticed it a few days ago, and I was like, wow, that's really heavy, because how many people do that? Like they don't feel worthy enough or good enough because they don't have X, Y, Z in their lives. And so we feel that we don't have anything to give to the world, or, that we're not good enough, or that we're not worthy enough of certain things. And I saw that playing out in my life in these ways because I was like, wow, like I really, I really feel like I can't talk about certain things because I haven't reached a certain level of status, or I haven't gained these number of friends or whatever. And I just want to give you a few tips of how you can take back your self-worth. The first tip is to recognize the fact that you don't feel good enough. Self-worth is always usually linked to that core belief of I'm not good enough, or I am not enough. And this is such a huge one in the spiritual community, and just even not even the spiritual community, just as a person, if you ever feel that you're not good enough or I'm not worthy enough, this is so crucial to recognize that, because it can be playing in your life in so many different ways, whether you're a business owner or you're working for someone else. The types of relationships that you have, the types of jobs that you have, the types of food that you put in your body. When you don't feel like you are good enough, you settle for less. You settle for the things that aren't really serving you and your highest potential. And the reason why this is so crucial is because once you recognize this belief that's operating in the background of your belief systems, your BS systems, you can start to then do this next tip that I'm going to say. And this next tip, you don't necessarily have to write it down. I'm a visual person, so I like to journal and write a lot, but I would suggest that you write down, or at least mentally take note of, what it is that you don't feel that you are good enough for. And like I listed, for me, that I'm shedding, the types of friends that I have, the types of relationships that I have, how I was taking care of my body, the types of jobs or careers or the types of people that I was working with. It reflects in so many different areas of your life. And let me tell you how. So one of the things that I had shed earlier this year was the idea that I had to work with anybody who came to me. And the reason why this was such a big whopper for me was stepping to my self-worth was about understanding that we're all divine, and that because we are all divine, we all resonate with different things, with different people, with different, just different things in life. And so if I don't personally resonate with a certain person, then I have the right to not work with that person. It's just really simple as that. That person will find someone else to work with and who resonates more with them. And that's just one example of many. Another example is keeping friends that you really don't even feel like you should be their friend just because you don't want to feel lonely. This is really crucial to look at, because what is your self-worth? If you don't feel connected to the person that you call your friend, then there is no level of growth, and there is no level of expansion and joy and pleasure and play that you can really have, because you don't even really enjoy being with this person. And so you just keep that person around because you don't want to be lonely. We do this a lot in relationships with a loved one. We feel like, it might not be working, but because you don't want to be lonely, you're too afraid to get out of the relationship. And so you stay in the relationship way too long than you should have. So self-worth plays a crucial part in this. So after you've recognized that I am not enough core belief within you, then you see what areas is that playing out in your life. And it could be many, or it could be one main area. Whatever it is, write it down or take a mental note. I really encourage you to write it down, because it just helps you to actually see and get it out from the thought into more of the physical reality. And so I would say the next step is to actually start to consciously work on those things in your life. And this is really crucial, because as you start to take note of how you are not embracing yourself and not taking care of yourself, or not stepping up to your own divinity and embracing your actual self-worth, the fact that you are human, the fact that you are a soul having a human experience, makes you enough. Period. You are divine. You are unique. You are a part of that which we call the macrocosm of God, of intelligence, of divine source, of spirit, whatever word resonates for you. You are divine. And because of that, you have a right to live your best life, because that is why you came here. And so in taking back your self-worth, you can start to see those things that you wrote down and start to go through the areas in your life and start to make changes. One of the things that I'm considering is I'm considering a lot of things, but personally I'm just going to share a few. I'm considering going back on the raw food journey. I've been a vegetarian / vegan for the last 5 years. And I'm thinking about doing a detox and really going for the raw foods. One of the things that I did let go while I was in that relationship, which I'm not blaming, I totally take responsibility for my actions because it was me, was that I started eating more foods that I didn't normally eat because that was the way that that person ate. And so because of that, I started to change the way I ate just to socially fit in. You know what I mean? So we do things like that. We give up pieces of ourselves in order to really feel loved. And to me, let me just tell you this right now. Self-worth is not about compromise. Sacrifice. Let me rephrase that. It's not about sacrifice. If you have to sacrifice pieces of yourself to be with someone, or to be friends with someone, or to work a job that you hate, or work for someone, or work with someone that you don't enjoy, that is not self-worth. It's not self-love, and it's not divine. It's totally out of lack. It's totally out of fear, and it's totally out of scarcity-based consciousness, which we are together getting out of. So I just wanted to give you these tips, and I hope that these are helpful. Another thing that I'm considering with other than the raw foods is I'm considering getting sister locks. So I've been natural for like 8 years now. And during that time, of one of the things I kind of let go by the wayside is actually taking care of myself in the way of my hair. I just stopped taking care of my hair. Like I just, barely, like I would wash it, every 2 weeks or so. But I barely like moisturized it. And you find yourself getting into these funks, and it wasn't really a funk. I wouldn't say that I was like depressed. It was really just kind of like I was in the spaciousness of the spiritual shift that I was going through. And I really didn't feel like that all the human things that were there just weren't even in my consciousness at that moment because I was going through such a major transformation. So now stepping back into my humanity and grounding more into my body, I'm starting to take better care of myself, being more cognizant of the foods that I'm putting in my body, the thoughts that I'm holding about myself, the way that I'm being in the world, the types of relationships that I'm cultivating or not cultivating. Just everything, from money to relationships to creativity to, doing what you love. It's all a part of the self-worth and self-love journey. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that this video was very helpful and that you got some really good tips. Let me just go back over those tips real quick. The first one is to recognize if you have the I am not enough or I am not good enough core belief within you. And the second one is to write down how that actually applies in your life. What areas is that playing out in your life? Another thing, if you're a business owner, this can play out in your life, which I've done a lot, is buy a lot of courses that you think you need, all the stuff you think you need to consume because you're not good enough yet in order to do what you need to do, what you're called to do in the world. The candy-eyed syndrome, that happens a lot in entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs alike too. So that's a part of that I am not good enough syndrome there. So first, recognizing that I am not enough core belief, writing out how it actually plays in your life, and then actively being conscious and aware of how you can start to change your life in each of those areas that you see and start to make changes. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And visit me at indigoray.com for more inspirational soul nuggets like this. Love and light, Indigo Ray here. Talk to you later. Bye.